Hello and welcome to GPTV. It's the Bentley version. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Leon Guzenfitter.
Let's wrap up what's going on, Mr. Bentley. Leon Guzenfitter. We won't wrap up what's happening in Essendon because you just lost a game, as did Carlton. So we're going to stay right away from football.
Stay away from the football, Gary.
Yeah, stay away from the footy. But lots going on. Things are pretty hot in and around Bentley. We're seeing some big numbers.
Yeah.
We're seeing some great clearances.
Yep.
We're seeing some very, very popular homes and a lot of people out and about ready to transact and buy.
That's right. It's back, Gary.
Yeah, it is back.
The
Feeling
market.
that way. Yeah, it feels
The market's
that way.
back.
Had a little slumber, didn't it, over the summer period? I think it was a bit quiet and opened up a little bit uncertain. But it doesn't sound like, even with the interest rate rises and even with the lack of stock, that there is a lack of appetite for homes. What's the feeling like out there for you?
Yeah, exactly right. There's no lack of appetite at all. And we've always discussed that you only find out you've passed the bottom after it starts going up.
Yep.
And I think I can confidently say that being on the ground 24/7, we've passed the bottom, which now appears to be around late November to mid-January this year. That's what
Yep.
it feels like. So if you bought in that time, congratulations to you.
Even February was a bit sleepy, I reckon. It was
Yeah.
a little bit uncertain and a bit on the nose in terms of, compared to how it is now anyway.
That's right.
It's a very rapid ascent, it felt like.
That's right. And look, we had another interest rate rise last week after
Yep.
a pause a month before, and there could even be one or two others.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, and we've discussed this as a team, is that not everyone that we are dealing with is A, borrowing, or B, borrowing right up
much,
to the
yeah.
max. So
Yep.
yes, I do agree, some people who are pre-approved to a certain limit, every time the rates go up, their borrowing capacity goes down, their repayments go up, and they lessen their budget. But we are dealing with a lot of people that have sold and are buying.
Yep.
People are only borrowing maybe 50%. And the thing that I think is going to really fuel the market for the next 24 months is migration. We're dealing, especially in the Bentley area, with a lot of new Australians who are coming here with a requirement to invest a certain amount of money, and we certainly find we're dealing with that market a lot. And if you look back in history, that's probably what's fueled all the markets sort of from the 90s onwards.
So in the battle of, let's call it the battle of migration versus interest rates,
Yeah.
migration wins?
It wins.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
we're only at the start of the migration cycle. Obviously with COVID, we were probably down on numbers for 3 years, and I believe now it's going to catch up. And also just with a bit of policy from other countries that are less welcoming of migration. Countries like Canada have closed doors, especially to Asia. We have kept our doors open and probably opening them wider than before. I think that's something to really watch for, especially in the house space.
Well, if you think about migration, if you think about people that want to create a new life for themselves, one of the first things that they look at would be education, family education, and of course Bentley and significantly the McKinnon school zone is a big international draw card for people wanting to come and settle in this country. They can come to get the benefit of the public school system.
That's right.
And of course, it's known the areas that we're doing a lot of business in Bentley and Bentley East, and even to a degree McKinnon and Ormond. They are all known to be family areas. They're set up beautifully with parks, great restaurants, great shopping, and of course great schools. And if you talk about affordability, still relatively a lot more affordable than when you come in a few kilometres towards Caulfield and
Exactly right.
maybe even Carnegie Murrumbeena. But there are homes that are selling in Bentley and Bentley East now for as much as Caulfield. So in the same breath, even though I would say that a substantial family home in Armidale or Caulfield North is going to be significantly more than the same equivalent in Bentley. Townhouses and apartments and villas, they're pretty close in terms of price. They've caught up a lot, haven't they?
Yeah. Look, I think if you, were born and bred Brighton or born and bred Caulfield North, and your family and surrounds all live in a block of 4 or 5 streets, you don't venture too far. Again, we're dealing with a lot of new Australians who were born in a completely different world, and if they have to shift 2Ks here or 2Ks there, they are looking for value, they're looking for school zones, and they're looking for a good environment. So I certainly feel the market is providing or ticking a lot of those boxes to people who are new to this country and to this state.
So schools rule as we move in to review some of the things that have sold, some of the things that are coming up for sale. We've had a very busy run, and we've had some big numbers in some of our properties. Let's talk about what's been selling. I know that, and of course viewers know that blocks of flats, blocks of apartments are our specialty. We've sold 120 or something like that now, and we've just sold another one just around the corner from your office.
We have, right around the corner, and people often talk about starting an investment, buying an investment, starting a portfolio. Here's an opportunity to buy the portfolio in one go. And we did auction off a block of flats on Jasper Road that had been held in the family for over 50 years.
Wow.
And while that was also in the school zone, And whilst the price not disclosed, it was over $2.5 million, we could say that. We had a competitive on the street auction on a Thursday afternoon. I think we had 4 bidders, and certainly went really, really well. And something that I think we'll continue to do more of in the Bentley area, because there are lots of people that own an entire block of flats in that area.
Now, I've talked about flats, but some wonderful townhouses. There happens to be a development in Dramana Avenue, which I've personally had a lot of fun going in and out of. I've loved it there. I've loved, going down that long driveway with a beautiful row of townhouses, and they're like better than new. They're stunning. They're on good parcels of land. The block's beautifully and meticulously kept. There's a park right at the end of it. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Yeah, so we've had a couple sales there since the start of April. So we auctioned off unit number 21. So it's a development of 23 townhouses. We auctioned off 21. We had a reserve at around 1.1 million. It was very competitive and very long. Unfortunately, I had COVID that day, so I was tuning in via phone, and I was listening to you going on and on and on for about 50 minutes, which was
a long auction, a marathon.
Which was great. I don't think we've ever had a vendor complain about a long auction.
No.
Sometimes buyers aren't so happy, but if you're a vendor and you want a long auction, Gary knows how to drag him out pretty well, which set the stage for Unit 22's auction, which you also did, and it was also long, and you dragged it out beautifully well. And while the final price is undisclosed, it was probably about 10% bigger, so it probably got in that vicinity.
Yes, fair to say.
And again, very happy buyers, very happy sellers, and a great entry into that school zone.
And we've got some good news for those buyers that missed out on both of those.
We've managed to get Unit 23 to come to the market soon as well. So that's actually come online now, and you're able to see Unit 23 at 27 Dramana Avenue, your entryway into the McKinnon School Zone, should you want to be in it.
So looking forward to seeing you there. Thanks for those people, because both of those auctions had competition. I think there's like 4 or 5 bidders or thereabouts for both of those. But looking forward to those people that didn't actually succeed in buying one of those two to rock along to the third one, plus some new people. That's a very exciting one. What else has been sold that we can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, just on the theme of the school zone, we had a sale, which is a single level 3-bedroom unit that you also did and also sold well at auction. There's a theme here. If you want to sell in Bentley in the school zone and have a long auction and be successful and get over reserve, Gary seems to be the common denominator. And we had Unit 2 at 7 to 9 Shanahan Avenue, Shanahan Crescent, I should say, in McKinnon, which had a reserve around that 1.1 mark as well, and sold at 1,217,000. So,
well, you know what, Leon, I've always been a lover of Bentley, and long before you even got into real estate, we were selling in Bentley and Bentley East. It's always been an area that we've had a lot of faith and confidence and love and belief in. And of course, now having our flagship office in Centre Road has just made us all that more active in the area, which is a lot of fun.
And long before all that, well, before that, we had our office, but after we had our office, we had someone called Jan Dosen come and join us, who, look, for me, I always joke with her that she's got the gift that I wished I had, which is the ability to speak Mandarin, which is...
What about her other language, by the way?
And she also speaks German, but I am finding we're probably dealing with a lot more Chinese buyers in the current market than German buyers.
Doesn't get to use the Deutsch that often, but she does get to use the
but she does get to use the Mandarin, and that's, a huge part of the community that's coming into that school zone. And she handled that Shanahan Crescent sale beautifully well. And just keeping with the theme of Yan, we've recently had a property in 19 Barrington Street in Bentley East within that school zone. I feel like we've had probably 7 or 8 sales and probably a 100-metre radius from that home in the last 12 months. So we've been super busy in that area. A lot of the buyers who have purchased a Chinese buyer, so Yan is dealing with these people and able to communicate with them so well, and they trust her and take her advice. But this sale in Barrington Street, the owner said, look, I don't want to have the whole bells and whistles if I don't have to. I'm sure you deal with a lot of buyers. Nominated some figures she would like to achieve. Within a week, Yan has bought 7 buyers there. We've achieved a price higher than any of the figures that was discussed. And sold, pre-market, but would have gone to market this week had we not been able to achieve it.
I got 2 hours of auctioning it off, so I'm happy to fill that some other way, I
That's
suppose.
right.
Other sales, Leon, before we get to some of the offers?
There's a couple of others. We had a terrific sale in Hotter Street, Brighton East. That was also a long auction. Did you do that one, or Philip did that one? Philip did that one, but that was also a really long auction. I think it had a reserve around the 1.3 mark. And sold for, I'm just going to check, yes, we can disclose it, $1,490,000, which was a really beautifully renovated single level unit, but a very strong price for that type of property. And on the weekend, again, with a lot of a long auction with a lot of bidders, you auctioned off 585 Nepean Highway, Brighton East.
I did. Had a
which you could probably tell more about that because you were there. But as someone that Ben Azer and John ran a great campaign there and discussing that property, it's sort of on quite a busy road, a bit of a misshaped block. We kind of weren't sure how it would be valued, but the buyers really resonated with that property and it was particularly popular.
Interesting, we had someone interested in making an offer before the auction. It wasn't actually formalised, but they were talking about doing an offer somewhere in the range. I don't know if that price is disclosed or not. I think it's possibly undisclosed, is it? But
yeah, it's slightly undisclosed.
That was, quoted in somewhere in the sort of 1.2, 1.3 range, and the vendor had been there for I think about 50 years, 48 years. So they would have been quite okay to sell it at the top of the range, not even the top of the range. They were actually gave us a reserve within the range. And lo and behold, the competition of the day, 4 bidders, and the party that was interested in making an offer beforehand ended up buying it, but they had to fight off 3 other bidders on the way through. So congratulations to the buyer and seller alike there. Very much enjoyed auctioning that property, which was so well handled by your team.
Yeah, and just on undisclosed, sometimes I think viewers and people that speak to us, people that ring me on the weekend ask about undisclosed. It's not something that we are championing. No. In fact, we're always asking wherever it is possible, especially in the public environment with a public auction, to have them disclosed. But if a client, whether it's a buyer or seller, asks for the price not to be put online or not to be publicly shared, we've got to respect that. So please don't think we're doing this as a way to keep data from you. We'd love to get that information out to you in real time, which is the way the world works now, but we do have to respect people's wishes.
Undisclosed is very frustrating for us, but again, our client comes first. Let's just talk about some of the offerings that we've got coming up. I know that I've had the great pleasure of seeing, and I'm going to be auctioning, and meeting the wonderful Vanessa McGlynn and John Sweepo at the auction of number 11 Delmar Street. Just started this weekend, but boy, what an attendance. A lot of interest in that.
Lots of people through, and hopefully there's interest as well after we do the callbacks, and auction's coming up in a couple of weeks. But really safe buying, Gary. A very livable, rentable, very well looked after home that they've owned for many years, but also on a great parcel of land. And it's properties like that the people who sort of bite the bullet and commit to buying it and maybe stretching themselves to buy it, I think we'll get the gains in future years where they sit on a full block of land, they can potentially redevelop. I think there's 2 units next door being built now, or they build a single new home, which are flying at the moment, or they just continue to improve the home there. So all the options are available when you buy a full block of land.
You can buy it as an investment, rent it out, as well. But it is a very, very nice parcel of land, a very pretty family home. Looking forward very much to auctioning that home together with Vanessa and the team. Higgins Road, Bentleigh, tell us all about this fine looking property.
Yeah, look, size does matter sometimes, Gary,
Yes, it does,
and this is probably just that size above most of the side-by-side traditional townhouse. It's got an extra living zone, it's got an extra study or a 5th bedroom, and it has a double lock-up garage, not a single, which
unusual,
is extremely hard to find. It's opposite a reserve. And look, it's 14 years young, not old, 14 years young, and it has been really well looked after by the owners. They've done a bit of a refurb before the campaign just to make sure that the new buyer gets a property that's very fresh. But if you're looking for a house and are maybe being priced out, and you think the general townhouse is just a little bit too small for your family, have a look at 28B Higgins Road, Bentleigh. It's got the best walk-in pantry you'll ever see.
A good-looking home. Buy the pantry and the rest of the house will come for free. Let's talk about Claude Street, Bentley East, another great-looking property. I know Simon Radonic's looking forward to auctioning this one.
That's right, and Aviv's handling this sale. This is entry level. You can buy a freestanding home of over 500 square metres in land in Bentley East for somewhere in that low ones. I think the price guide is $1,050,000 to $1,150,000. We may not see these prices again, and as we've discussed before on the Bentley Report, when these prices take off, they take off by 10, 20, 30% in no time. So if you're looking to get into Bentley, sort of sub 1.25 most likely, this is probably as good as it gets.
Brighton East is a suburb that we have so much success in. I know you do a heap of work there from our Bentley office. We do quite a bit from our Caulfield office. Our Bayside office also has an entry into that. So it's always been a suburb that we've excelled in. This is a very special property in Rosebery Avenue in Brighton.
It is. It is a special property. It's close to our heart for reasons that we know. And it's been beautifully done by the current owners and their family. If you're looking to get into Bayside, again, it's 3 bedrooms, that's 2 bathrooms, that's been renovated, it's in a nice quiet street, sort of around just under $1.5 million. It's very hard to get into that. and this is a really special property. Been popular so far, so we are
Yes.
looking forward to congratulating a new owner there in a couple of weeks' time.
The sort of home that's owned by people within the real estate industry, which
That's
happens to
right.
be the case. Let's move on to Wimmera Street in Ormond, and we'll just close out the show with that one.
Yeah, and this is a terrific property. It is a semi-detached home, which is partly attached on one side,
Yep.
but it's nearly on 500 square metres of land, so it's got a
Wow.
huge land component.
Yep.
And the family, about 6 years ago, drew up some plans, and 4 years ago, finished the most spectacular renovation extension. The majority of the home is actually not attached because it's gone back and up. And I actually saw the price of the build on that, and I think it would be another 30 or 40% today with the building costs. But this is another size does matter situation where if you're sort of priced out of either normal semi-detached or even looking at a townhouse, this is a house with the most incredible living zone, beautiful north-facing backyard, and yeah, if you can buy something like this under $2 million, I think you're doing really well, and those prices may not last.
The photos look great, and I know it's a great position there. So looking forward to bringing that one to the market. Philip has the auction honours on that one, so he'll be joining you there. I'll get to the auction if I can, if I haven't got something on at the time. So that's a big wrap on our offerings, Leon. Lots going on, some fine homes coming to the market. We continue to sell so many of the best homes in Bentleigh and surrounds, which is, of course, our great pleasure, and we certainly approach that with a lot of excitement and enthusiasm. If you're wanting to sell now, this year, you probably need to be talking to us because, of course, we're already planning our spring sales, but nothing wrong with selling in winter either, Leon.
That's right. And look, while the volume is a bit low and the vibe in Bentley is really hot at the moment, again, we're discussing big numbers through the opens, lots of people missing out. So if you've probably been holding off over the last year when the rates have gone up and sort of potential sellers I felt have sat back and said, well, we're not sure if the market's any good. We've passed the bottom like we've discussed, and maybe this is the time to get in, speak to us and plan a campaign, because we do feel like spring will be busier and that may test the market in terms of spreading all the buyers out. So come and speak to us and take some advice about timing, and sometimes you've got to get in when the market's hot, and it feels hot now.
Thanks, Leon. That's a big wrap on the Bentley Report. We look forward to bringing you more news as we head deeper into winter. The market is hot while the weather is cold, and we look forward to bringing you the news. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Leon Guzenfitter.
We'll see you next time.